the guy who commented game from 2005 under my previous video about 83, you'll be pleased to know that the CEO of the company read this message and brought it up during our conversation. His counter-argument was something along the lines of, have you played that game from 2005 recently? Here I am playing Return to Castle Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, my favourite game from about 2005. And yeah, I think it holds up alright. Can you 360 quickscope triple kill people with a flamethrower while jumping around in 83? Didn't think so. I recently got the chance to sit down and talk to the developers of 83, the Cold War shooter I've been covering a bit on this channel. You can see some gameplay footage in front of you just as sort of B-roll. That is just me from earlier. I'll link the streams I did in the description. This was just one of a few live streams I did where I played the game. And yeah, it was an opportunity to ask them some questions. Basically, it was about an hour, and the CEO of the company was there, as well as like the lead technical guy or technical lead. I don't know what the official term is. The marketing lead, the community manager lead, and a few other YouTubers. And we spoke about the game for a bit. So I've got some notes on my screen of like what we spoke about. It's just on a notepad file. I'll show you it at the end, and I'll just go through it because I did a poll on the channel asking if people would want to see that, and they said yeah. So first things first, we spoke about the release date. So they currently publicly are saying that they're going to release Q4 2025. Now, I'm recording this at the end of October. And in the UK, people take like a couple of weeks off for Christmas. And if they release just before Christmas, they won't be able to fix it. So I was quite surprised by that. And they said, we received a lot of feedback from people saying, don't release it. Don't release it yet. You got to work on it some more. And they said they'll think about it. So hopefully they don't release in 4 weeks, because I think the game's like, it's fun when you shoot people and they die, but the game has a lot of technical problems, and we'll cover some of those as I keep speaking. But they said, yeah, so it was something like, we will respond to this. I think the phrase they used was to describe the feedback of people saying, please don't release it in 4 weeks or whatever. They also spoke about how they're gonna release it into early access and then have like constant regular updates. So if you remember, so these are the guys who did Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, or at least the company is different, but a lot of the same people are at this company. So I remember when that game came out in early access and it had like 2 maps and a lot of things really didn't work properly. And they kept working on it and eventually things worked. And now it's a really good game. So I assume that's sort of a similar style of what they're going for here. They didn't really speak about it, but I got the impression, because like one of the YouTubers was like, you guys should work on this for another year. And they all just kind of started laughing. So I kind of get the impression that they need the money and that they kind of have to release it so they can keep working on it. I mean, I don't have any proof of that, but that's just sort of the impression I got talking to them. So hopefully they can fix enough of it that it's sort of, reasonably good on early access launch, and then hopefully they can keep developing it like Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. Because yeah, I remember when Rising Storm 2 Vietnam first launched, I'm pretty sure it was in early access, or it was early access but it wasn't, you know what I mean? And yeah, that it was a real stinker. And they fixed it, right? So yeah, the next thing is the maps. So as you can see, I suppose this is a good stopping point. We just had the NATO win screen. And now I guess I'll be playing as a Russian with an RPK or something. Yeah, the map's really dark. And this is something I said in my video about the game. And given that... So the CEO brought up while we were talking, some guy said the game was from 2005. And so he must have read that comment on my video, as you'll see it at the start of the game. And yeah, they said picking a dark map probably wasn't the best idea, and they've got this maps trailer, so it looks like the game is gonna launch into early access with 3 maps, which is it's on the low side, right? It's not the best. I mean, I gotta tell you, man, why does the game look so much better on their screen? What are they doing differently? Everything I've got everything cranked up to very high. Maybe it's the YouTube compression. So yeah, the game's gonna have 3 maps, and the one they showed off in the demo, because the other complaint was, it's quite small for a Rising Storm 2 map or a Red Orchestra 2 map. The one they showed in the demo was the smallest one, and also the darkest. So this other one, it's called, I think this is called Woodpecker, the one with the radar sight, or no, that's Fulda Gap. And in the super cool trailer, you can see. I'm just gonna put it on times 2 speed. Um, yeah, there's like tanks and stuff, and there's a few screenshots of them driving the tanks. Also, it's very sunny. It's pretty to look at, right? They sent me some screenshots as well, but the screenshots were just kind of parts of this trailer, or at least it looked like it. So you see, there's lots of different foliage. You can drive a tank around. Makes those anti-tank things more useful. The map we played on was this one, F-Jawed, and yeah, it's dark, makes it kind of hard to see things, and it's more of a CQB map. That was an underbarrel grenade launcher there, and yeah, it's dark. This was the map you all got to play, and they said it was the smallest of the 3 maps, and yeah, so I think they probably should have picked this one, Woodpecker, for the demo, but maybe it wasn't finished yet, because this is like an intermediate scale between the Folder one, which is presumably is the biggest because it's got the tank. You see some small cars there, and you can blow up the cars. I'm surprised they were willing to put that animation in of the car just turning into a wreck, but there it is. You see there's some more verticality in the terrain. It's a shame they didn't show off. Okay, they're still showing off Woodpecker a little bit, but yeah, so they were like, okay, yeah, that was a mistake. We probably should have picked the brighter map. And they said they'd look at F Jord again. And sorry, I almost pronounced it correctly. Oh, I don't want to watch Age of Empires 4. So yeah, they said they'd look into like trying to make it brighter somehow and stuff like that. Yeah, so that was it for the maps. Next part. Sorry, it's the first time I've done something about this. The bugs. So we spoke a lot about prone and how when you go prone, it doesn't really work properly. Spoke about that. Like several people brought that up, including myself. Bugs in commander mode. As you'll know, I did a stream where I just played commander mode and I got like 46 kills, and then the artillery just bugged out and stopped spawning. And also, I dropped some artillery, some friendlies ran into it. I pressed cancel and the cancel button didn't do anything, and then they all died. So they did say they'd fix that. They also mentioned things about like animations missing. So some of the other YouTubers who were there were big on like, you know, the recoil is wrong, the animations are stiff. And, these are sort of valid complaints. It's not really something I care about. Or at least, it's not something I would actively notice. I think the bigger problem is the game doesn't run properly, but we'll cover that later. And the bugs and stuff. And so, yeah, they said they're sort of working on the bugs. I didn't get a chance to ask them why the guy doesn't use the RPG scope and just uses the iron sights, but there it is. So... So yeah, they mentioned they'd fix prone, and that they said that quite a few times actually. So that must be very important to them. And it certainly was to anybody who went prone in the demo. So it really didn't work very well. Blimey, that's not some great shooting there. When you lean, it makes it a lot harder to aim. I've noticed. Anyway, the next thing was anti-cheat and anti-grief. So in the game, I had a few things, like I had a guy just running up to me and stabbing me over and over because he knew I was streaming. I had some Russian guy run up to me and start screaming the N-word over and over and over again, and I couldn't mute him, and I set the voice receive volume to 0, and it wouldn't go to 0. I reported that to them in a separate thing, and they got back to me, and they said they fixed that. So So yeah, they said. Also, I had a guy shooting through walls at me, like just he was just genuinely like map hacking or aimbotting or something. He was like typing in chat while he was spinning around, shooting people through walls. Well, I don't know if he was spinning around. I couldn't see him because he was on the other side of a wall. And they said they were going to work on that. Like they said even over the course because that all happened like right at the start of the play test or whatever you want to call it, the next fest. And they said over the course of it they were implementing some stuff to fix that. So hopefully that's more sorted. Uh, if you, I know in the next fest, if you stab somebody 3 times, you get kicked from the server. So the guy stabbed me twice. Um, and then I found out about the 3 times thing because I shot him every time I saw him, and on the third time I got kicked. So I guess that was my fault, right? Um, yeah, so that's the anti-cheat and anti-grief. Next thing is performance. So I only got a chance to bring up a couple things just because of the time. Um, and I mentioned performance twice because I thought it was the most important part. They said they were working on that. The main thing was the automatic. So when you launch a game, it automatically detects your computer settings and gives you, graphical settings to match that, to match your hardware. And they said that wasn't working properly, so loads of people were getting the wrong settings, and that wasn't helping things. And they fixed that. And then they're talking about so they've brought in some contractors and stuff, and a couple more senior engineers, and they're trying to fix the performance. They were explaining on a technical level how it works. I mean, I don't know how interesting this is to you guys, but basically, in the game engine, so I use a game engine called Godot. It's quite similar. There's a something called a profiler, and that will basically tell you, okay, so I've put this image on your screen. This is how many milliseconds it took me to draw that frame, right? And this is what each part, what took X amount of time, what took Y amount of time. And so you go through that and you say, okay, why is this taking so long? And then you look into that code. And the example they brought up was that on maps with tanks, they were getting poor FPS because the tank treads were always, or the rotation of the tank treads was always being calculated, no matter where you are. Obviously, that doesn't pertain to the demo because there were no tanks, but it's an example, right? The other on a tangent to this, they didn't really bring this up, but basically they're using the Unreal 5 engine, and Unreal 5 has this sort of habit of, or at least this sort of very poor. How do I describe this? Most people think it's dog because like Borderlands 4 is Unreal Engine 5 and it runs like crap, right? And stuff like that. The like I said, we didn't bring this up during the thing, but this is just something worth mentioning. I've got it in my notes. So Arc Raiders is Unreal Engine 5, and I played the playtest for that, and it ran really well. So basically, it's not the engine; it's how experienced the developers are in using the engine. At least for Unreal Engine 5, you can get some good running games on it. Arc Raiders runs really well, or at least on my computer. Whereas Borderlands 4, doesn't run very well. This game right now doesn't run very well. So I don't think it's sort of a killer thing that they're using Unreal Engine 5 and we're just doomed. I think it can still run quite well. Because obviously we've had these conversations about Broken Arrow in Unity. Unity is more known for just poor performance, but maybe that's also a skill issue. The other thing, so the other YouTubers brought up a couple things. So the gunplay and the movement and the animations, like the recoil, they brought that up. They said they now have 4 people working on animations. One programmer and or 2 programmers and 2 guys who actually like move the limbs around. Um, on a technical level, just to explain to you a bit about how that works, basically you have a skeleton, and you can move the bones on it, and you would have to like individually frame by frame. Okay, not frame by frame, but basically you would specify a position, so like a pose, and then you specify the other pose, and then the computer will automatically try and interpolate between these two. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain while sat down, but you don't have to specify, okay, so if I want to close my fist, I have to do a frame like this, a frame like this, a frame like this, a frame like this. You would specify a few points along that frame, and then the computer will interpolate between them. It'll pick, okay, so at time 1 second, the fist should be closed. At time 0 seconds it should be open, and it will interpolate between those points. They didn't cover this in the thing, but I figured I might as well just mention that. I've had to do some very basic animation stuff for the game that I have that still hasn't released. And yeah, it's really, really complicated. So yeah, they said they were working on the animations, basically, 4 people working on the animations. And the last thing is one of the YouTubers complained about the UI. Oh, is this the part where yeah? So I grenade launcher this guy. Check this out. Bam. And yeah, I get him. Obviously, you can see there's like loads of blood over there. Yeah. So anyway, one of the other YouTubers complained about the UI. I didn't really notice it, but yeah, they said we'll work on the UI. It's not final yet, so maybe the UI will get better. So that's everything I had in my notes. I mean, it was only an hour, right? And I didn't get a lot of time to speak. So yeah, I mean, maybe if enough of people watch this video, maybe I could like ask them for an interview or something. But I don't even know what I'd ask them. And this channel isn't very big, and I'd rather they just finish the game, frankly. So if you enjoyed watching this, let me know. Obviously, I'll know from the view statistics because basically YouTube checks how much of a video somebody's watched, and if people are just clicking off it and then clicking on it and then clicking off it, then they'll it just stops recommending it to people. So you know roughly from the average watch time and the views how popular it's been. But if you found this particularly interesting, let me know. Unfortunately, I didn't get to ask the most important question of all, which was, do I have to play the other 82 games to understand the story?